I'll go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Sorry for the slight delay. I'm Paul Jolly, a first-year PhD student in the Brain and Cognitive Science Department, and NSF AR/VR PhD fellow. Thank you for joining us this morning for the Voices of XR with Damian McDuffie. The series is made possible by Kathy McMorran Murray and the National Science Foundation as part of the interdisciplinary graduate training in science, technology, and applications of augmented and virtual reality at the University of Rochester. I would like to thank Damian McDuffie for joining us today. Damian is a creative technologist, digital archivist, and AR artist and developer. He is the founder of Black Terminus AR, a company app, a camera app, and no-code AR art studio in your pocket that aims to make AR easy for artists, brands, and museums. Black Terminus AR allows users to view and create 2D and 3D AR projects using just a phone or a tablet. It saves artists and creation teams time and money. Damien is also the co-founder of Wine and Bowties, a digital agency that connects world-class brands with underrepresented creatives. He is also currently a fellow in Massachusetts Institute of Technology and Black Public Media's Visiting Artist Program. Please feel free to post your questions in the chat, and we'll have a Q&A at the end. Lastly, this session is being recorded and will be available to you later on the Studio X website. With that, I'll turn it over to Damien.
Hello. Thanks for having me. Thank you for the introduction. It sounds like a lot of stuff, but it's not that much, really. Like you said, my name is Damian McDuffie. I'm a creative technologist, a digital archivist. I like to say spatial curator, whatever you're calling it. It just really means that I'm working on perfecting how to create augmented reality experiences in the real world. And when I say augmented reality, just to kind of distinguish ourselves from virtual reality, virtual reality is really about creating a new world, creating a completely new world. And augmented reality for me is about enhancing the world that we live in and making the world better through either impressive UI, access to technology, or anything of the like. My background in augmented reality is not very deep. My company, Black Terminus AR, has been around for about 2 years. My discovery of augmented reality and the way that I do it is something that I've kind of been perfecting for the last 3 years. Before I started in this immersive space, I was and am an archivist. I'm a family archivist, so I work with my family archives. And when I say family, I mean working with all of the elders throughout my family, following them to wherever they live, digitizing their photos that they have in their closets and attics, and also kind of like recording that process. And I've been doing that for about 10 or 15 years without any real idea of what I was going to do with them. I just know that I thought that the photos of the family that I saw were very fascinating. So I started with my mother, then my maternal grandmother and aunts, like looking through and digitizing, organizing their photos. I flew to Yakima, Washington, to my paternal grandmother, sat some time with her, and learned a little bit about my grandfather that I didn't know. I found some old photos and really crazy stories. Then I was sent to Osceola, Georgia, where my maternal grandmother was born, on a turpentine plantation, and discovered a whole branch of our family, and then just amassed all of these photos. A few years kind of passed, and as I started kind of stepping into my role professionally as an archivist, I began working with the Dr. Huey P. Newton Foundation, and really kind of stewarding the archives of the Black Panther Party for self-defense here in Oakland, and really kind of wading through very, very rare content, be it video or photos or stories or things like that. There were two things that I found, whether or not I was in like a historic archive or in a personal archive. Generally, the archives weren't kept up well. They were really organized. Like my mom's photos were in a plastic bag, and kind of like just reorganizing those, figuring out what does it mean to be to grant archival material. Excuse me. Baby, can you come get him? Um, and what does it mean to kind of share some of this? So as my role as the archivist and the brand director for the Dr. Huey P. Newton Foundation, I took it on myself to try to figure out what was going on with museums today. What was the technology, what was making or the museums of the future. With that in mind, we really have been focusing on trying to create a Black Panther Party museum here, which still hasn't happened, but that's kind of a 10-year long period. But my research took me to YouTube, it took me online, it took me to Japan and Thailand. In Tokyo, Tokyo has two of the greatest, or three of the greatest, immersive museums in the world. And when I visited, there were so many people there. The lines were really crazy and all that. And I had never really experienced anything close to that until the African American Museum in DC through the Smithsonian. And the other thing is I took myself to Thailand, where they also really did a good job of utilizing augmented reality through a mobile device. And I thought that was a key for me, where you can open up your camera, point it to a piece of art, to an archival work, to anything along those lines, and have the art add a time element to the art. So it either can tell you about itself, about its author, be just a silly animation, kind of like just a great interaction. And I immediately thought, oh, I sit with so many photos that I'm not allowed to put on social media, so many videos that I can't put out because of IP and history. Okay, so what if I took some of these photos, sent prints out and things like that, and attach digital elements to them? So these photos and these elements that people open up their camera and see, they don't have access to the actual video. They don't have to own the photo, but they still can experience it. And that's kind of what put me on my line. A combination of really looking at history, looking at family history, and then figuring out a clever way for more people to digitize their own photos, to digitize their family stuff, and to see a larger, to see more value in it. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to continue to kind of tell my story, how I got into augmented reality as it relates to my family and as it relates to the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense. I'm going to give you an introduction so you'll be able to see an example of some of the work. It'll kind of be about a 5-minute, 6-minute story. You'll be able to see what I'm doing, the example of the work, and my main project, which is an augmented reality tour here in Oakland based on the Black Panther Party murals that are around. We'll also take some time to learn about what I'm doing when it comes to kind of education. As you all know, augmented reality is creating augmented reality is very hard, and it takes a lot of skills, a lot of schooling and all of that. And what I'm focused on is demystifying it, making the creation process easy for everyone and making it accessible through your phone. So not only where people are able to open up my app and view and experience augmented reality, but they can also open up the mobile app and create AR. And as you see, kind of as I go through some of that, I want to highlight a docu-series that we're creating. So for the last 2 years, I've been going around the world doing workshops with artists in Tanzania and Zanzibar and Senegal, Mexico City, Puerto Vallarta. I'm going to Jamaica in about 2 weeks to do the same thing. And when we do it, we record the process so that we can create a series that shows the artist, the history behind the artist, the collaboration with myself through the technology, and the process for creating. And that's very, very important, because when I built my platform, I was like, oh, I built this platform. It's a drag and drop platform. It's very easy. Everybody will use it. I didn't really anticipate that I'd really just need to focus for about a year on just teaching techniques, teaching how to go about it, and inspiring people to do it. So that's kind of where you all found me, in the middle of that. And we're going to highlight some of those things. So first, before we continue, and if there aren't any questions, I'm going to share with you a story about the AR Museum for the People, which does a really good job of telling my background, showing the technology, understanding the geography and how people can use it, and then kind of our ultimate purpose. After we do that, I'll kind of walk you through a step-by-step of how do you create on the platform, and give you all a chance to experience it yourself by downloading the app and finishing it off that way. And hopefully we have some room for questions. And then Megan, if there's anything else that you want me to cover, just let me know. Okay. All right, so let's see what we're gonna do here. Wait, over. Can you all hear? Okay.
Yeah, I think the audio stopped, so now we can't hear anymore.
Just in digital archivist.
Are we back on?
Yes.
Okay.
When they open up the camera, there's a lot of joy on people's face. Most of the people that use my app for the first time, really their first introduction into augmented reality, into this, mix of the physical and the digital into the real world. Damian McDuffie is a creative technologist and digital archivist that uses tech to bring our world to life. We open up our camera, point it there. Whoever opens up the camera over this particular image will be able to see this video.
I know you just explained it to me in like 5 minutes, but it still feels like magic, like seeing it come to life.
Well, that's the whole thing. I mean, what we're doing is like, what we're selling is magic in terms of seamless immersion.
Damien creates these seamless immersions using augmented reality, a mix of the digital and physical world made possible by the app he created, Black Terminus AR. Walking around Oakland, you can use his app to bring huge public art displays to life, like this mural of Black Panther Party founders Huey P. Newton and Bobby Seale.
There you go.
Like any good inventor, his journey started with a problem he first encountered while working as an archivist for the Dr. Huey P. Newton Foundation by day and digitizing family photos by night.
As I was working in that, there's a frustration I think that most archivists or curators have. We get to sit and be with so many wonderful artifacts. You can't share a lot of what you see as an archivist with the public. Either it's really fragile or it's just not something that there's no medium to really kind of deliver it.
So Damien created that medium in augmented reality, a skill he taught himself during the pandemic, first with family.
About 10, 15 years ago, I started just scanning and digitizing photos of my family. This is my mom and my auntie when they're both 12 years old. This is an example of a different kind of animation.
His creations blend reality with something that feels as if you're stepping into a piece of art. Some simple, others more elaborate, each one telling a story.
And they would be even more valuable to the people if
We have a picture of my mom in the 80s at Sweet Jimmy's, I believe, one of the clubs in Alameda. When I look at it, what I want people to kind of get a sense of the lifestyle that she might have had, kind of like the evidence of that is just all of the photos that I've seen, many club photos that show her with friends, always with her sister, who's also her twin. I look at that and I want to say, this gives me a feeling of partying and dancing. So we're going to add some music to it. So when I open up the camera, I want music to come up.
Damien was first inspired by augmented reality after visiting AR museums in Thailand and Japan in 2019. That's when the light bulb went off.
As an archivist, I was like, oh, now I can help people see what I see every day. Like, because I know the history of West Oakland, because I know the history of Black people in certain places. Even when I walk around my neighborhood, I know what was here before.
He's now using this technology to do exactly that, working to create a Black Panther Party history walking tour in West Oakland, breathing new life into murals like this one, honoring the women of the Black Panther Party.
The art itself, the home itself, is so beautiful. It's remarkable. But now there's another layer being added onto it with Damian's technology and the AR. What has that experience been like for you, just to be able to pull out your phone and see that?
It's bananas, basically. It's just bananas that these women have existed for me as real people for a really long time. And now with Damien and Black Terminus and AR, you can point your phone at these women and they come to life for you. And that to me is incredibly remarkable and exciting and beautiful.
Damien is working with Jill Christina Best, the owner of the home and curator of the Black Panther Museum inside of it, to enrich these artifacts with even more history through AR.
Let's see if this works.
The bronze statue of the late Dr. Huey P. Newton is one of 25 public art displays in Oakland that will entertain and inform when you point the Black Terminus AR app at it.
Let's see if it. All right.
For the more advanced augmented reality creations, Damien even does his own face tracking to bring the art to life. He showed us how it works.
My name is Julian Glover with ABC7 News. We're working on the face tracking app Mugshot. Damian McDuffie.
Now blink. You can see if you blink, you should be able to see a little bit of blinking. You can move your face a little bit.
And what was it like the first time you saw someone opening up your app and being able to use it to see some art come to life?
Yeah, I'm amazed every single time. I'm amazed when that it works. I'm amazed that people use it. I'm amazed that artists use it.
And those artists are amazed by his creativity too.
a lot of what we still fighting for is what they fought for.
Just ask Timothy B., the mastermind behind this massive mural of Bobby Seale and Huey P. Newton at the corner of 7th in Washington.
I'm new to the augmented virtual world. So when he first showed me what he did, I was surprised like everybody else.
Damien sees a world in the next 5 to 10 years where augmented reality experiences are all around us. He's hoping to use this technology to further educate the masses about the Black story and history.
I want people to be able to come to our city and have an experience that allows them to see the city, walk around, but also learn about what the history was in a real good, immersive way. And this concept of bringing AR and combining that with the Black Panther Party history, I think it's just my way of creating experiences that I think Black people will love, and I think that other people will love as well.
Julian Glover, ABC7 News.
Okay. So thanks for bearing with me. I didn't know the screen was moving when I was trying to organize some stuff in the background. But the that piece really kind of talks about what I'm focused on today, which is over the next 6 months, developing an augmented reality, developing our augmented reality platform to also include tours and to be able to create high fidelity experiences at all of these different murals and sites and things like that. We are really focused on trying to bring kind of local storytelling into augmented reality. So one of the things I've been really focused on is learning about audio-based AR to make it so that if I have folks download our app and there's an audio guide that's based
Welcome back, everyone. Chances are you know someone who has been
second.
impacted or who is impacted with Alzheimer's. There's no cure for the disease.
The idea would be to provide a platform where people will be able to use geolocation based AR to experience a tour. So the audio will be triggered when you're at a particular place in the world, and as you progress, you go to the next block or to the next site. Depending on the direction you go, the instructions will kind of follow along. So that's been kind of a very interesting thing. I'm like pretty new to everything. So anytime I have a new idea of either I want to do some audio based things or I want to do 3D animation or I want to have some kind of movement, 9 times out of 10, I don't know how to do it. And so I have to figure out how to do it. And that kind of goes back to, I guess, the purpose behind what I'm doing. I have spent a lot of time focusing on and teaching people that all of this is really just experimentation and trying things out from here to here to here to figure out what the next step is. A lot of this is very new. That's why I'm encouraging so many people, so many Black folks to get into this space, just because there are a lot of things that need to be decided on how we go about storytelling, what the ethics are behind it, and just how this can be used for fun or innovative ways. But before I continue, does anybody have any questions about the tour, about what you all saw, anything for me so far? Let me see.
I do. I'm sorry. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Dr. Petrushka Muiz from Grinnell College. And so my question is with the tour that you just showed us on with the film, how big is the range? How many city blocks were you able to curate, and how much time did it take you?
Yeah, so over the last 2 years, I've curated in my space about 25 public augmented reality monuments, but I probably have done over the last 2 years maybe 250 of them. And the key to it is not that I'm like so great, is that the platform that I created, which I'm going to show you all now, has made it a lot easier for me. So when I learned augmented reality, I learned on YouTube. I downloaded Unity 3D, which is the game engine that's kind of running a lot of this stuff. And I found a 20-minute tutorial that took me about a month to finish. So before I even started this tutorial in March of 2020, I started watching it in November of 2019. So like for several days, even before I even attempted to do it, I just watched the tutorial over and over and over. Once I kind of got the courage to actually attempt it, it took me about a month to to create my first AR experience through Unity. But once I saw that, and once I knew that it was possible, that's kind of all I really needed. Once I knew it was possible and I can kind of get through it, then I can develop something bigger. So the platform as it stands now, anybody in the world can open the Black Terminus AR app, download it in Google or iPhone stores, and open up their camera to any augmented reality activated art and see it come to life, or decide to create something and see it come to life. And I think that that's kind of like the big idea. I'll see a question. Do you use any Unity packages? I know Vuforia is good. So the work that I'm using, my app is built on Unity, on top of Unity. The idea is taking all the complexity of it and just making it simple. My motto is, if you don't need to know HTML code to send an email, you shouldn't have to know code to create augmented reality. So that's what we're trying to get to. In the same way that, you know, we use drag and drop for Dropbox or anything like that, I'm trying to bring this to augmented reality, just make it easier. Like, you know, Adobe has been around forever, but Canva has still been needed for 20 years to make it easy for other people who don't have the you know, what I call unskilled professionals, who want to do something that's outside of their realm, but don't want to dedicate 3 or 4 years to kind of learning how to kind of do it. But yeah, I'm not sure if I answered your question, but I hope I did. Any other questions? Okay. So what I want to do is share with you all just the app itself, so you can I can walk you through how things are created. And then I believe there should be a sample there too. So let me get this ready. Okay. Everybody, you mind give me some water, please? No. All right. Can everybody see? All right. So I like to start with the video. Usually I do the presentation first and then show the video, but I found that in augmented reality and anything that we're doing, it's way better to show than to tell. So like a lot of this, I'll definitely be showing videos, but I'll try to do my best to explain it. Kind of do a backwards teacher situation where I show the video and then kind of explain what it is. So this is Black Terminus. Black Terminus is an augmented reality art studio in your pocket. As I said, I do a lot of work overseas, working with folks in East Africa, West Africa, and Latin America. And as I was developing my platform, I was here in Oakland with my, my brand new iPad and my iPhone 12 and my internet and all those things. And I was really creating for me, creating for optimization of what it means to be in Oakland and the accesses that I had. And as I traveled and kind of tried to test it out and met artists around the world, I realized I had to kind of modify a lot, because most people don't have as much access to internet as I do. They also don't necessarily have it shouldn't be something that's only useful for people who have the best phones or the best devices. So I had to go back to the drawing board and make sure that everything that I create can be done on an iPhone 6 or better, on Android, I believe, as long as it's Android 8 and software or better. And that's really important, because a lot of stuff in augmented reality, in virtual reality, and mixed reality, Web3, is not really being created with everybody in mind. Because I know that even as we create glasses and we create VR headsets and we create these things that cost a lot of money, the majority of folks that I'm interested in and I'm targeting, Black people, that means in Africa and around the world, are going to be doing most of their computing on a phone. So if they're not able to create from their phone or they're not able to experience from their phone, then there's going to be a large group of us who won't even have access or the ability to step into the industry and kind of add our creativity and all of that. So I see, you know, even though everybody's moving past phones, I think that this is going to be essential for most countries where most Black people are, and just developing countries where the technology is not where it is today. Okay, let's see. Won't let me go. Let's do it like that. All right. So what I like you all to do, and we're going to come back to this image, is scan one of these QR codes with your phone and download the Black Terminus app. Once you actually have the app downloaded, you'll be able to open up your phone, point it to this image, and then see it come to life. But what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead, allow you all to download, and then at the end of this little presentation, I'm going to let you see it in action. But just make sure you either scan the QR code, the Apple or the Android version. And I'll talk about that a little bit more. Let's see. I don't know why it's not letting me live. There we go. So augmented reality, as I said at the top, is the emerging technology that blends the digital and physical world. Here at Black Terminus, we're really focused on what we call the real world metaverse, and creating AR that makes life easier or more entertaining. So the idea is always, augmented reality is cool, but if it's just a gimmick and it's not really adding anything to the original experience, it's not something that I want to encourage at the very least. A lot of times we get into a space where we're in Web3 and we must now, as an organization, as a school, as a business, integrate AR, integrate VR, or do something just so that we can be relevant in the space. And it's not something that should be done just to kind of tick off a box. You really want to ask yourself, how is adding digital elements to this physical object in a certain way, or interactions in a certain way, how's it going to add to the experience? Okay, it keeps going back down. Okay. Come on. All right. So the reason why I created my platform is that story that I told you at the top. It took me about a month to do a 20-minute tutorial and learn Unity 3D and kind of like develop something that I was proud of. I love augmented reality. I think that it has the potential to solve so many world problems. And I think that people in my neighborhood, people from my village and all of that, it's necessary for them to learn how to command this technology in a certain way. But I know that I am an archivist and I'm a researcher and I'm kind of obsessive in a lot of ways. And that's kind of what's led me to where I'm at in AR. But I don't expect, not even to expect, but for us to get mixed reality and Web3 to where it needs to be, then it needs to be accessible for a lot more people. And creating on Unity and expecting my mom or my grandmother to learn those kind of platforms to step into this world was just not very realistic. So I was really kind of like always turned off by how difficult it is, how much time it takes, and then how much schooling it usually takes if necessary. So what we wanted to do is make AR easy without code or any kind of gadgets or anything attached to it. That was important because there's such a small, only a small segment of folks, like even within the internet community, AR and VR and all that is still kind of ghettoized in the corner and is still like a specialized skill set. So we can't expect everybody to be a coder, but we can expect everyone to be a curator because that's what we are today. We take photos everywhere we go. Every time I see an image that I like, I open up my camera and point it to that image. But now, instead of just being able to take a picture of that image, now we can have a deeper understanding of the image. We can go into a new dimension with the artwork. We can learn about the history, or they can learn about me as the artist behind it. It keeps doing this. Okay, so my ultimate goal is to create what I call the Canva of augmented reality. In the same way that Canva was able to take Adobe Suite and design style and simplify it so that anyone at a brand or a business can, at the very basic mode, create something very easily and still make it look beautiful. That's where my philosophy comes from. Canva, but for AR design. And I think if I'm able to achieve this and focus in on mobile, then I'm able to teach more folks and it'll have more accessibility. So it's very important to me that when I go out and I introduce this technology to someone or to a group of artists, that I also teach a particular person to bolster their skill sets in AR creation, because it don't make sense for me to come in, barge into this art community, say, look at this really cool thing that you can do, show them a little bit, but don't leave anyone with the tools to kind of continue to learn and do it. If I had a lot of money, I would have people going all around the world and teaching these things. But right now it's just me and going to the right people, the right folks in the community, and making sure that they are the teachers. So if you've downloaded the app and you've created an account, there's three buttons at the bottom. You have a create button, a explore button, and a camera button. The camera obviously is just to view and see the AR experiences. The map will be where if there's public art and you're around, you can see it on the map. You'll be like, oh, that's AR activated, and you can open up your camera to do it. But what I really wanted to focus on is that creation process, making it easy so that everybody can create AR. So it's really just a 5-step process and a drag and drop process. All you need is enter the name, the width of the actual image, drag and drop a PNG or a JPEG that's 2 megabytes or below, drag and drop a video, MP4 that's 20 megabytes or below. Or if you want to see 3D objects, you can drop a 3D model instead and you press add. And within 1 minute, your augmented reality experience is ready and you can open up your camera and point it to that piece of art. And I'm going to let you all see the first example at the end of this as well. This is the display that I was explaining. You have explore, you have view, and you have create. The explore is important because it allows artists to post which AR murals or public arts is activated. They can add a link to either their Cash App or to their website. And then we can also add 3D objects. Eventually, I'm going to be raising about $50,000 specifically for the development of the platform, where we want folks to be able to buy art on the market. So a big part of my motivation is helping muralists, not just classical artists and museums, helping muralists make more money from their art. And a lot of times it's like a one-off. A muralist creates a big art piece. It continues to contribute to the community over years and years, but it doesn't really contribute to the artist. And what I see is this being able to create prints murals that have augmented reality on them, integrated into clothing and things like that, will just give my friends and muralists just a more opportunity to create and make money from what they're doing. Next, let's see. The big thing is my platform is really focused on mobile. Most other AR platforms are desktop heavy. And knowing that the majority of Black kids in America and in Africa are computing about 70% of them just on mobile, that's where we want to be. I think the desktop allows for higher fidelity, but the mobile piece will allow for future artists to continue to thrive in the business. You guys don't need to see that. That's new. So right here is the team that's behind some of the things that we've been doing, developing the app, developing the map, all of those kind of things. I'm sorry, I haven't been looking at the questions. Developing the app, developing the map, you know, as we raise more money, we'll be making it more complex, adding digital layers, making it, you know, yeah, basically democratizing AR. That's exactly what we're trying to do. But that's, well, let me make sure that we. This is something I usually just share with, you know, if I'm doing a presentation. This is kind of our goals over the next year. It took us about a year to you know, experiment and gain traction. A lot of these numbers on the left are actually irrelevant now. They're probably from about 4 months ago. But the goal is we want to, one, develop this AR tour, and then and get our technology into schools and museums. So we've already kind of got ahead of that. We'll be in about 4 museums this year. One of them is just a personal exhibition, and the other ones is exhibitions along that they want to do. And a big thing that I like to do is develop my curriculum. So because I'm a mobile platform AR artist, I've given myself the same restrictions that a lot of people around the world have when they're creating. So I've created a workflow that's completely mobile based, that allows, you know, 6-year-olds to use, 15-year-olds and older folks to use as well. And I just want to kind of take that and create a curriculum that more people, I'll be able to be just set in front of other folks and they can follow along and actually create. So if there's anybody out there in the world that's interested in helping with a curriculum around a lot of these creations and a lot of the lessons and things like that, please hit me up. Mm-hmm. Any questions or comments or anything like that so far? I'm going to take you all back to the original image so that you can experience what is the largest augmented reality mural in Oakland right now. It's about 70 by 30 feet, I believe. And it's the first one that we did in 2020 that led to the tour. So if you're opening up your camera, one thing is making sure that your phone's not on silent so you can hear the audio. And if it's not fully inside the camera, maybe turn it to the side so you can see the full image. And I'll kind of walk you all through. A lot of what you'll see is there's a few things. The mural is called People Power. And I had to work with the muralists and we decided we wanted to just make sure that whatever the characters were saying, that they were speaking directly to people power and to each other. So as an archivist, I did a lot of research and I found a video of Bobby Seale on the left speaking about people power as it relates to what Huey Newton on the right believed. And then I found something of Huey Newton actually quoting some of the things that he believed around people power. From there, I took the audio, I extracted the audio from both videos. I opened up my face tracking app. So everything that you all see there, both of those faces, they're both mine. And I had to do my acting thing. So really learning the actual words and then doing them in sync. Then, after I've got that recorded with my voice and the background voice, I then have to bring in the audio, the original audio, and line it up so that it looks like just them speaking. And green screen and all of these things, but it's a whole process. And the reaction here was amazing. And it sparked a lot of interest from artists themselves. So I've been teaching artists, but also from, muralists and organizers and curators who are doing Black Panther related stuff. And everything that I've done so far has been, by grace of people kind of reaching out and seeing like what this can do for their work, and then bringing it to life. Any questions about any of this? Okay. So what I want to do before we run out of time is I want to show one more video. It's about 8 minutes. So as I said, we were creating a docu-series called Into the Archives, where I match up with artists, curators, metal workers, steel workers, all of these kind of things, and show them ways to integrate augmented reality into their art. So for each episode, we do our little research, we showcase what's here, and then we either create an exhibition or anything at the end of this. I'm going to show you all a modified version of this episode of me and Billy X going through some of the archives, the Black Panther Party archives. And then with time after that, I'll be able to pull up an image that really showcases I'll be able to pull up an image that showcases the Black Panther Party newspapers, and you'll be able to experience those in AR as well. All right, so give me one moment. And if there's any questions while I'm doing this, let me know. Okay, here we go.
Oh, there's some questions in the chat.
Okay, let's see. Where am I developing this as a business? Well, I'm located in Oakland. My goal is to have dual headquarters in Oakland and Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. And then I just go around the world and teach at the right places, real strategically with particular artist communities, but in that. Through how to make an AR piece. So some of those tutorials and curriculum, what I can do, I do have a few lessons, just kind of general basic lessons that I can drop with Megan as well, so we can get them out to the right folks. And then I'll also drop a link so you can see some of the stuff in the creation process. Any other questions? Let's see. In the process of developing this. Oh, so in terms of developing it as a business, one of the slides that I skipped over is the SaaS platform. So the way that this works is the augmented reality platform will always be free for artists, and it'll always have unlimited activation, so you can put up as many artworks as you want. But there will be a tiered access. So, if you want to have people view all of your AR artworks, more than 100 times within a month, then you might want to buy the $10 a month, 1,000 views a month kind of package, or anything like that. So there will be a tiered piece around that. But we're also a studio ourselves, so we, part of our business is working directly with museums, curating their exhibitions and creating the AR content that goes along with that, also providing the platform that they use. Okay. Now, let me share this while we got a little bit of time. So this is Billy X, archivist for the Black Panther Party. And
how often you have people in here like
about a month and a half ago, I started letting people here because there was a number of students that were doing projects at UC Berkeley that required a physical presence. Like this right here is a folder I have on Huey. Right? And so basically, I got 3 of those, but basically most of the stuff, like this is like the first Free Huey rally and stuff. You know why?
This is the first one?
Yeah, Bobby Hutchins living.
Yeah, oh my God. I've never seen him.
Bobby Hutchins is living.
I know, I never
April,
seen
he was
him.
there, like Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
Eldridge here, John Sloan, Catherine Lee Cleaver, Bobby Seale, the Curry brothers.
Oh, free my black brother.
Black Panther Party, we are social scientists. You know, and we just don't base things on whims. You know, we have a way of thinking, dialectic materialism, international intercommunalism. So it's lessons to be taught for the next generation. How to organize, the attitude you have, the books you gotta read, the outlook you gotta have, what responsibility is. We have to pass those things on.
You keep talking about the world and that we need a change.
This is an original issue of the Panther paper. You can tell by the red ink and stuff like that on it and stuff like that. This is the paper I sold. This came out in September.
Nice. Oh, that's like right when you
Yeah, yeah.
Like
I was selling that paper. Now this is like 72, 73, like 1967, 68, 68. This is Maya Angelou. Right, this is her.
Oh, wow. Is that the Oakland Community School?
Oakland Community School.
Oh,
she,
wow.
she was teaching that. This is Tupac and Feeney and Tupac. This is original photo from Angela, and this is party members feeding people on the boycott. Here's a factory right in the background. Now this is a San Francisco Panthers. This is myself back. Oh, that's you? Well, actually, I was in front. We did a about face kind of thing. Black Panther Party program. First one, we want liberation, we want politics. You know, the lumping came from San Francisco. This is just stuff I have here, and we haven't even begun to go downstairs yet into the basement where I keep the big posters and stuff that's too big to. So this the Panther did.
Oh man, I want to wait for this already.
Newspapers and magazines straight out of Africa. 83, 82. A lot of people weren't even hip to what was going on in Africa and apartheid at that time. Like this right here is a crisis from 1970 to 1980. Wow. These are the NAACP internal magazines. And the reason I started collecting these is because they are the ones who supported Fred Hampton. Are you hip to this magazine?
No.
Blue magazine? Oh man, this is the revolutionary shit. Came with an album. You can look at the artists, and all came with blaring, kick-ass music.
Big Gregory, this is one.
He was a party supporter for a long time. Even though we ran Eldridge Cleaver against him and when he ran with the Peace and Freedom Party. A lot of pictures you might not see because that photographer might not be from this geographical area. Or what Ducho used to do is Emery and them used to send him out on the set to do some pictures. Then he would go and develop a proof sheet and would bring it to central headquarters, and Emery would look at it and say, put an X on the picture they want. Yeah. And out of 36 pictures, they might only want one picture, right, and the rest of the 35 pictures are going away. Yeah, because they only want one. But guys like me, years later, get those proof sheets and pull other pictures off there.
Cause you can copy, the proof sheets.
I got about the proof sheets. So, as a matter of fact, I bought some from a guy from Seattle, and they had Seattle Panther stuff on it. And the Seattle Panther said, "Where you get this shit from, Bill?" I said, "Hey." Sometimes people give it to me, sometimes they got it straight out buy it. Maya Angelou teaching at our school, breakfast program, people being fed, sickle cell anemia, talking about voting. They internalize that stuff and go to work and subliminally think about that shit. They see a Black professional woman taking care of Black people in the community. You talking about imaging? A Black kid sees a Black person and say, "Hey, I would like to do that. I would like to be a doctor and come back to my neighborhood." So that's good kind of messaging to people that you can be all that you can. There's things you can do in the community, My Black brothers in Vietnam. This issue came out in '69. Look at here. This is Bobby Seale. This is June Hilliard.
Everybody
who
was in the military.
Yeah. This is Geronimo. This is Bob Rush before he became a congressman. He was in the military. And in this particular article, Elvis Cleaver wrote about is Black men shouldn't be going to Vietnam. But these brothers came back and used their military experience to enhance the community. Like Geronimo, we sent him around, he personally went around like 10 or 15 Panther officers before he got locked up and refortified them to withstand an attack from the Poland. He was a Purple Heart runner. This guy, he knows military and stuff like that. So anyway, this was all about the war. Now this artwork was done by a brother named Akasani. He was a Sacramento Panther and he's like world renowned.
It's like a visual version.
Visual version. So even if you cannot read it, you can get it.
We need this up on the walls, like that right there.
Panthers working with the unions out on the field. This is Candy, she's giving people food on the picket line and stuff like that. We have 100 Panthers out there in 10 minutes. Well, actually an hour. There's another one I saw an article about food program. So I got plenty material to deal with. Sometimes I get so much stuff, I forget what I have. Right. I mean, whatever comes out about the party that's within my grasp, I get it. It's a lot. It's a lot. It all depends on how much you love this stuff. Right. This is called the international solidarity. Right here you see Huey in China, Panthers from India, Panthers from Australia, Panthers from New Zealand. Then you turn to the cover, middle. That's our international office. Now, if you was in Tanzania going to where Charlotte is, you would see all these signs leading to the office. We got Panther signs all in Tanzania, right? So you see Panthers from all over the world in different forms here, and that's going to be the theme of our 55th global impact. Because we're talking about India, China, UK, all over the world. So the party wasn't just a thing here; it was a thing for change all over the world. This is just part of the archive, and I got a bunch of stuff in the garage. This is West Oakland, chess and backgammon club. And every Panther rally, they're out there playing. regardless of what the hell's going on.
So, I thought it was important for you all to kind of see a lot of the background and the research that goes in even before we start augmenting work. So, what I'm going to present and show you all now is, after several trips with Billy X, we created an augmented reality exhibition of Black Panther Party artworks and newspapers. And then we set it in a particular place here in Oakland. Everybody loved it. And what I'm going to do is just share with you all some of those same art pieces. And there's about 10 of them. You don't have to get through all of them, but I just want to have you all be able to see what kind of interactions laid along those lines. Any questions or comments about what you've seen so far?
There is one. Oh, Paul, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, no, I was just, yeah, I was just gonna say there are a few questions in the chat. There's one earlier on about how, I mean, it's not related to what you just showed, but there was one earlier on about how they can sign up to develop your curriculum.
Right. Oh, well, yeah. So what I'll do is I definitely am gonna leave some of my information in here, and then as well with Megan. In terms of the question, interested in workshops with universities, yes, I am. I'll be doing one next week, actually, again, too. And then the last question was, how were you able to get past the initial hurdles when introducing the AR, is what I'm assuming. A lot of it is persistence. So like, especially if I'm trying to work with people who I don't have a contact with, or they're overseas, before I go there, maybe a month and a half before, if I'm going to Jamaica like I am, I'll follow, 15, 20, important like Jamaican artists in a certain area and figure out who I want to outreach to. But outside of that, I would also reach out to a particular institution. So an art-based institution, like I'm reaching out to Kingston Creative. And so I asked them, like, this is what I do. I'd like to provide a workshop for your artist. If you can organize it, then I'll do it, kind of thing like that. But generally it's me kind of walking into places. So even if, for example, when I was in Zanzibar, I knew of the Artist Institute. And I literally just walked in there, showed them what AR was, what it can do, show the person there, schedule a workshop within like 2 days, and we just did it. So I think it helps a lot when I'm talking to people that they know it came from me. That's something that I created, especially Black people around the world. That gives me a chance as well. And then I think the other part is just that most people are pretty amazed. They haven't, like, most of the people I'm introducing AR to them, and I say that in quotes because we are all experiencing, Spark AR and, filters and all of those kind of things, but we're not thinking of them as augmented reality. And what I try to, especially with kids, especially with students, I basically just tell them, like, remind them that every time you use a filter, there's somebody on the other side who created that, who thought of it, who designed it, who implemented it and published it. And this is the things that you can do. The other part is, especially for students, high school students, I just try to tell them how open it is and how much money is in this industry. Over the next 5 years, it'll be a $340 billion industry, and it's only 18 billion right now. So like crazy growth. I always also drop, especially for students who are mostly on Snapchat, and they probably have the best AR platform that there is. Snapchat, they have agencies that they pay $50,000 a day just to create these images and these interactions. So when people start understanding that it is a lot of creativity, but there also is a large industry behind it. And I know for a fact, with Snapchat, not one of those agencies that they pay $50,000 a day are Black owned or Black run in any kind of way. Not one of them. And I know all the people who kind of do it. So I think that that's something that I kind of always come back to, and just kind of encourage, like, everything we're doing is a little new. What I want to do, are there any other questions? What I want to do is give you all, oh, I'm sorry, the opportunity to, let's see, download, here we go. The opportunity to see some of those things that we decided on. So we had to sift through all those newspaper and figure out which ones we wanted to actually activate. And these are what we came up with. So I'm going to share my screen one more time. And if there are questions as I'm sharing the screen, just let me know. The next one. All right, so I'll probably go through these pretty slowly, give you all maybe like 1 or 2 minutes for each one of them, but each art piece is activated in a certain way. And I'm always trying to add digital elements that add to the actual physical piece. So it's not just random, it's a lot of curation that goes into it and finding the right sound bites. Let me see, I forget what this one is.
I had a quick question about how how does the app, or like what algorithm do you use to like actually recognize the photo? Because I actually turned down the contrast of my monitor all the way and it still was able to identify which photo it is. And I'm wondering how that would differ from like in person versus on the screen versus like.
Yeah, so it's really, so there's different ways that you can activate something. You can take a picture of it and then add the digital layer, or you can have the original digital file and upload it into the app. Generally, when you, on the back end, what I didn't show you is when you upload a photo, the photo is the image target, and that's the thing that's going to be recognized. There'll be a 5-star rating for the photo. 1 star just means that it's not well recognized. It's not well recognized, and that the camera will have difficulty recognizing it. So it still might bring up what you need, but it may take a little longer. If it's a 5, that means it's not going to have any issues tracking it. And even if you change the contrast, it can see it pretty fast. So what it's recognizing is just complex kind of patterns in the image. And as long as it can see that real contrast, then it'll be done. I'm going to go to the next one, just so you all can kind of see. And the George Jackson one is actually my favorite one that I did. I don't know why, but I just love it so much. But all of these was, it took, you know, finding the newspaper, scanning the cover of it, really figuring out what they were talking about inside, figuring out the time period, and trying to find some video that go along with that.
Oh, Kathy put a question in the chat. I'm not sure if you saw that.
Oh no, I did. Let's see. Where is it? I don't know.
Wasn't really a question. It's just if you want to meet Karen Chung before you go to Jamaica. She lives in Jamaica and New York City and leads the American Friends of Jamaica.
I would love to be connected with her. I'm gonna put some of my
contact. I'll do a virtual for her.
Right.
Great.
Thank you.
No problem. She's well connected.
Yeah, that'd be great. I'm gonna go to the next one so you all can see that one. Give you a chance, just to get a sense of what we're doing. And I know we're coming up on time, Megan. Thank you. And what I'm going to do is I'll drop a link to these images so you have access to this PDF. Let's see where we at. Let's see.
Oh, Damien, I had a question, or I guess a clarifying point of my question. This is to me a very like a trailblazing path. There's like a doctor, engineer. These are pretty people have pretty solid visions of what that means. So how did you, I guess, motivate or navigate the like walking into the unknown in a way?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure about follow. You actually one more time for me?
This doesn't seem like it has a clear path of like, get a PhD, get MBA.
Okay.
Like, how did you motivate yourself to navigate the unknown?
Oh, okay. I understand. So, I went to school. My major was African American Studies and Political Science in undergrad. And then for graduate school, I went as a narrative nonfiction. So writing books and things like that. So I think that in between those, like I've always kind of like, organized, helped, promoted artists in different ways. Never really considered myself an artist. I think other people probably did. And I found that, the maybe about four years ago, I started a school in Oakland, a high school. And it's an amazing school and it's a great thing to do. But as I did it and I kind of accomplished that, I thought it was amazing, but it never was anything that I actually wanted to do, or it wasn't a desire that I had for myself. So I wanted to get away from just doing good work and doing something that was connected with my spirit as well. Because you can't say anything bad about opening a school, but it doesn't mean that that's what I want to do with my life and that I want to be in that environment. So I think that, with my decision to leave there and really kind of flounder a little bit for the first time in my life and figure out what I wanted to do is really kind of what led me here. And the other part is I've been doing archives for like 15, 20 years. I never considered doing anything with it as a profession. I never considered doing anything with it in terms of the photos and creating creations on top of it. So I think a lot of it was in my face for a while, and it wasn't until I discovered AR that allowed me to kind of pursue. I had been a person that, like I said, I started a school, I've been a community organizer, I've been, an educator in different ways, all these different roles, and all these different interests. And this is the first time I felt like my divergent interests worked to my advantage. Like, being a photographer at some point and being able to, get into videography. I just started learning to direct over the last 2 years just to, I want you guys to see that one. This is my mom and my aunt as well. So I think it was just getting to a place where I can roll into my, natural way of doing. I have a lot of social anxiety as well. So I needed to be able to work in an environment that was really at my pace and that allowed me to do the things that I needed to take the breaks that I needed to. And so it's, the travel, all these things are things that I kind of did separately, but I never kind of brought them together for a real purpose. And this is kind of where it is. Any other questions? Last questions? Let me see what we got in the chat. Okay.
Yeah, I think we're running kind of on time, but if people have other questions, definitely feel free to reach out to Damien. The contact information is in the chat. But this was really cool work. And thanks again.
Thank you.
Thanks again for joining us. We're really grateful to have learned about the work. Also, thanks to everyone who attended. If you'd like to continue to follow Damien's work, you can follow him on Black Terminus AR. The information again is in the chat. Please also check out the rest of the Voices of XR speaker series. Our next speaker is Dr. Benjamin Suarez Jimenez, who is the Assistant Professor of Neuroscience at the University of Rochester. His research program in the ZVR lab aims to use VR to understand PTSD and anxiety disorders. The link is also in the chat. But yeah, thank you, and have a wonderful day.
Just one last thing. Once again, we really are working our way. We want to be able to be inside the classroom or with museums. If you have any kind of connections, any kind of art schools that might want to use this tool in their work, please reach out. All right, thank you all.
Thanks, everyone. Damien, if you would hang on just for a second.
Sure.
Thank you.